Hi, and welcome back to Pint-Sized Guilt-Free Torah. In the Parsha, we have one of the most tragic stories. That's the story of Dinah. Dinah is the daughter of Jacob, and she goes out. Someone named Hamor sees her. He's the son of the king, and he sees her, he takes her, he rapes her, and then he says he wants to marry her. And he goes to his father, whose name is Shechem, and he says, I want to marry her. Can you make this happen? Shechem goes and talks to Jacob, and he says, look, let's all intermarry. Let these two get married. Let our daughters marry your sons. Let your daughters marry our sons. Let's all intermarry. And family meeting, so to speak. And Shimon and Levi get involved. Shimon and Levi, two of the brothers of Dinah, very upset about what happened. And they said, sure, let's all intermarry. Great idea. Before you do that, though, you have to circumcise yourself because we can't marry uncircumcised men. Okay, they circumcise themselves on the third day of the circumcision, which is the most painful day. Shimon and Levi totally go in and decimate the city, destroy everything and everybody. And as a result, that really ends the story. Jacob isn't too crazy about their actions, but that's how they handle the situation. Now, thousands of years later, now we're going to tell another story that took place at the end of the 19th century. One of the great rabbis of the period, named Rabbi Yosef Dov Soloveitchik, the Beis HaLevi, he was traveling with his wagon driver, and this is the middle of the Russian winter. It's freezing outside. It's nighttime. They can't stay out at night, and they see there's a small inn, shortly half a mile away, because the wagon driver knew the area and he knows there's an inn there. Pulls up, knocks on the door, no one answers. Knocks again, no one answers. Comes back and he tells this great rabbinic figure, the Beis HaLevi, he tells him there's no one there. He says it's impossible that nobody's home. Bang and bang and bang until somebody answers the door. And he goes back, he bangs, and finally somebody sticks his head out the window. Hey, what do you want? He said, we need a place to stay for the night. No, there's no place. It's late at night. Just forget it. Keep going. He said, it's freezing. We're going to die here. We have to come in. We can't stay here. Okay, he comes down. He's very grumpy. He brings these two men in the house, throws them in a little dark closet like room next to the washroom. And that's where they are. And this wagon driver gave the Beis HaLevi there were two chairs, and just kind of to lay on the two chairs, and that's where they would spend the night in this cold room there. But it was better than being outside. Some time had passed, not a long time, and all of a sudden there's another knock on the door, and it's banging, and the man opens the door. He was awake already, and who is it? It's the Rabbi of a certain Rabbi. I forget who the Rabbi was, one of the Hasidic rabbis. And the Rabbi, the person who attends to him, says, the Rebbe's here with an entourage of Hasidim, and we need a place to spend the night. Wow, now that's a lot of business already. He brings them all in, lights up the dining room, and he brings out cake and schnapps, and they start singing and eating, and it's just a great time. The Rebbe gets up, go to the washroom, and on the way, he sees this little dark room, and he sees somebody in the room. Now, the Beis HaLevi, this great rabbi, didn't want anyone to know who he was, and so he took his hat and he covered his head. But this man walked in the room. The Rebbe walked in the room, and he lifted up the hat, and he looks, and he said, Beis HaLevi, Brisker Rav, this is a famous person, the Brisker Rav, what are you doing here? Okay, he brought him out. All the Hasidim were there, and the Rebbe brings out this great rabbinic figure, and it's all very festive. And then at one point, the Rebbe says to the innkeeper, you really have to apologize to this rabbi. He's one of the greatest rabbis of the generation. You must apologize to him. Get his forgiveness for what you've done. So he says, I'm so sorry. I had no idea who you were. Please forgive me. He says, no, I'm not forgiving you. So the Rebbe says, wow, you must have done something really awful. You must get his forgiveness. He says, please forgive me. I had no idea who you were. I never would have done this. Again, I'm not forgiving you. And the Hasidim thought, very strange, such a great person as the Beis HaLevi can't be forgiving of a person. And then he asks a third time, please forgive me. And he says, He says, let me tell you why I'm not forgiving you. Let me explain my actions. And as you know, great Torah personalities, whatever's going on in their life, they were always able to tie it to the Parsha. And it was this week's Parsha. And he said, when this incident happened with Dinah, and she's raped, and they, so to speak, the other side wants to make peace. But it says, V'yechalehem, the brothers got mad. Certainly Shimon and Levi were very mad. Jacob's sons were mad at what happened. It says, Ki nevola, also Israel, a terrible thing happened amongst the Jewish people. It's an abomination happened. Lishkov es bas Yaakov, to lay with the daughter of Jacob. Vechein lo yasa, and such a thing is not done. So basically Levi says, what do you mean such a thing is not done? What is that adding on? He says, it's not that it was just Jacob's daughter. No, such a thing is not done to any woman, to anybody. You don't do this action. He said, you're apologizing to me because of the fact that I'm this famous great rabbi that you perceive. But what if I just would have been a simple Jew? That also, simple Jew doesn't deserve to be treated the way he treated me. That's why I couldn't forgive. This is a lesson for us for life. We need to treat all people well with dignity, not just the famous ones, not just the boss, not just the superior. Everyone deserves to be treated with dignity. Everyone, because such a thing is not done. Great lesson for life. Have a great Shabbat.